Boom. What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Appreciate everybody who's listening on Omni Studio, at iTunes, allthingscomedy.com, and watching on YouTube. Please like and subscribe, leave comments, and spread this stuff around. People are enjoying the podcast, and we enjoy doing it, having some fun, and talking football. I hope y'all had a good week. I had a terrible weekend, but a better midweek. How you doing, Lee Hudson?
I'm all good.
I didn't introduce you. I just started straight talking to you. My bad. We have Lee Hudson from Southampton fan, comic from England, regular on the show. What up, fam?
Yeah, terrible weekend for me too.
Oh yeah.
And I've not got midweek European football to make it any better for me. So
you gotta
I've just got to sit in it for a week.
Damn. Especially after international break too. How did you did good before the international break? You had a win.
Yeah, we were unbeaten in 4. We had 3 wins out of the 4 games going into the international break, and then killed our momentum.
Yeah, you guys got beat by, and especially a team that you thought you should have beat, Norwich. They're at the bottom of the table, and they beat you 2-1.
Yeah, we were 1-0 up early on as well. Shea Adams been scoring for Scotland in the international break. He scored for us as soon as we got going. But then, I thought I was feeling pretty positive, 1-0 up after like a few minutes, and then it went south.
How did it go south?
Just bad goalkeeping on both goals from McCarthy. Really, 2 really shit goals to concede. He should have stopped both of them. We had all the ball. We had the other chances. We should have scored more as well. But the 2 goals were soft. Maybe Fraser Forster will be playing the next game.
Right. Hilarious. And now Norwich got 2 wins in a row, and they face Wolves. And this weekend, Southampton has, oh shit, the club who you love to give players to, Liverpool.
Yeah, nice easy one this week instead.
Yeah. You should be all right. I'll be having prayers out to you. Are you guys aware that it's like Thanksgiving season in America?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody watching, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your whole week and your Thursday specifically, and get your sales on. Speaking of sales, well, we don't have a sale, but we have some T-shirts on sale at onthevalleyapparel.com. And I'm going to put it in the link below the video, but go to onthevalleyapparel.com and look up the Soccer Comic Rant T-shirts. We have 3, and get yourself some. And you can also, for any other merch on onthevalleyapparel.com, you can use a promo code Comic Rant and get 20% off. You might be able to use it on our stuff, and I should know if you could or not, but I'm not sure. So check it out on thevalleyapparel.com. What do you think we should talk about the most? The Premier League or Champions League, which was the Tuesday games today? Or how do you want to do this?
I think we got to address the weekend, haven't we?
What about the weekend?
We can't really talk about Champions League until we talk about what went on before it first.
Right, yeah. We don't want to tell the story like a bad storyteller. Jumping in the middle is frustrating. Yeah. So you want to start with United's week? Or do you want to finish talking about Southampton?
I'm done talking about us. We were just bad.
Just one
bad
of those
goalkeeping.
Games.
Yeah. There's not much to say on that. I'm just, praying we don't get an absolute hammering this weekend. So
I'm rooting for y'all, if that makes any difference. I'm rooting for y'all. Like, I feel like we have a chance to get in the top 4. But yeah, I'm rooting for y'all. So I guess we'll talk about Manchester United and 4-1 dismantling at the hands of Watford, and how they came out swinging, and we came out there sitting there ready to be hit. And there's so many things I want to say. So let's see if I can remember them all, because it's about the game, it's about player management, it's about Ollie, it's about tactics, it's about a lot of things. So I guess one of the first things I want to say is when you come back from international break and when you have certain players on your team that are hard to drop because they've saved you and you're baking a bunch of times and they always want to play. But the international break is a great chance to say, I'm not going to play you. I'm going to rest you because you just came back from international break and not offend them. And also get people in who have been chilling, didn't go on international break, and are kind of well rested. And that you could at least start them for the first half and get some energy going because you have players that played on Manchester United that played all last season, all the competitions, right? Went far in all the competitions, then come in the summertime, went far in the European Championship with their different countries, specifically a lot of English players. And Maguire's the captain, but you can rest him because some of the mistakes he's making are clearly tired mistakes. Like last week I said, Maguire, Paul Pogba is worth more 89 mil than Maguire, but that's not saying much. I feel like an issue with Maguire is like he's just been overplayed, just in so many competitions. It's like, and I feel like Ollie doesn't rest him, and you have Bailly on the bench. If I think about all the times Bailly's played, he's made some mistakes, but he hasn't made as many mistakes as Maguire. And most of the games that he's ever played for us, he's played really good. And he showed a lot of skill and ability. And when you have an opportunity to play him, you should play him and rest Maguire. Because I was even talking to a friend today. It's like they're going to play Maguire so much that he might get injured and miss the World Cup. And that affect England's chance. So we need better player management. You could play Maguire. Bruno Fernandes made mistakes at the beginning of the game that cost us 2 penalties, right? And that's a tired play when you try to reach a ball and you don't go towards it and you swing at it and it whiffs and goes into your penalty area. He shouldn't have started the game. And I'm not saying that in hindsight. I just felt like start Jesse Lingard. You know what I mean? He's chilling. He's got the energy. Like last year, Jesse Lingard played for West Ham and beat better teams and played good against better teams for West Ham. So it's not like he can't play. He's a squad player. He can do good against Watford. He has the energy and he's going to want to do good against Watford because he's fucking needs to take every chance he can get and go 100% just to prove. Just the same way at halftime we put in Van der Beek. He should have started, the game. And we wouldn't have been in this much trouble. So it's just like little things like that. Who else shouldn't have probably started? Maguire shouldn't have started. Bailly should have played.
Maguire's going to have a rest this week now.
And he's going to have a rest this week. And then I was going to talk about them playing in Champions League. Even though we won, there's 2 things with him playing in Champions League today is you didn't want to, he's not going to play on the weekend. So you don't want to play Bailly. You can play Bailly and let him get some reps and some breath and some playing under his feet so that he's going to play Chelsea this weekend. Or you can be like, if he gets injured this midweek, then you won't play him, have him for the weekend. So I kind of understand that. You don't want to take the chance. Maguire for sure is not playing this weekend. So I understand that. But if it shouldn't take Maguire getting a red card or 2 yellows to get some rest. You have the guy has a backup. You pay him. When he plays for us, he plays good. And a lot of people say, well, he's injured a lot. He's not really, because I always see him on the bench listed as a sub he gets injured. And some people get injured because you don't play them. That too. It's like if you don't use something, it gets rusty. So there needs to be better just rotation. Like I think I think Shaw is tired, 100%. Like he hasn't been playing as good. I think Shaw's tired.
Well, Teller's got the minutes tonight, didn't he?
The Teller's got the minutes tonight, and I think because Shaw's injured, it's like he wasn't listed, and it's like rotate him. So Ali went into the game, and I've also said this on the podcast before, and this goes with that. Like sometimes Ali loses games just based on how he picks the squad, and that's what happened this weekend also. But we had no shape. Everybody was all over the place, and Watford played like they were getting paid our salaries. You know what I'm saying? And they just killed us, and then we put in Van der Beek, and then we had a chance. And then we also saw a little bit of what Sancho could do this weekend when you play him on the right side. And I don't even mind what we did with Greenwood at the beginning of the season, but how come this is bad coaching when you have two players that can play either side of the field, and in the middle of the game or at any point in the game, they never switch. Like when you watch Sancho on the left and Greenwood on the right, Greenwood can use both feet. Sancho can play on both sides. We actually bought him to play on the right. But when he starts on the left, him and Greenwood never switch. Like it's just the same thing. So we lost. Ali got fired as he had to. Neil had a good joke in the chat about he might get fired at halftime if it was possible. Thought that was really funny. And
I mean, I wrote it and I thought that it was probably not even a joke. Like it could happen. Like if it ever has to happen in football, this is probably the time it should happen.
Right. It was just, and we got Neil here.
Hey.
But yeah, it was just a really poor performance. And after all the poor performances that preceded that, there is no way we could keep him. And then it was also sad to see Ali go. It's like, oh shit, like you kind of knew it needed to be done, but then you're like, oh man, it's like because you wanted it to work out, and he had a chance. And I said this earlier too, like in the beginning of the season, like Ali was in the Lampard position at the beginning of the season. When you get all those new players, you have to get results, and I felt like he might have just stopped coaching. He coached more better when he had less options. So I don't know what you guys have to add to that, and I'll remember some other stuff as we.
Yeah, well, at least I thought at least the club, although it was done too late, like it should have happened weeks ago. At least they handled it sort of in a classy way in terms of media, which was quite nice to see. Like he even like I think that's the first time I've ever seen a manager do an exit interview after they've been fired.
Right.
Like sometimes if they've chosen to leave at the end of a contract, like Pep did at Barca and stuff like that, maybe, but. Yeah, to see that happen and, to see his interview where he was, speaking with a lot of emotion was quite interesting and, nice to see a club handle it that way and give him that opportunity, I guess. Because, I mean, he's still a legend at the club, regardless of what happened in his time there. And, he picked it up after Mourinho. It was a caretaker appointment. I think you said it before. It's like a caretaker appointment that ended up going on way too long. And that's not his fault. He was just trying to do the best job he could and wasn't good enough, which isn't his fault. It's, it's the club's fault for mismanaging the situation, I guess. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now.
Yeah. And so the exit interview, right? Like I thought it was a good idea too. But then a lot of people, like there's a lot of media people in England and a lot of pundits saying it was a bad idea, but everything is being attacked. Everything is being scrutinized. And I don't think it's a bad idea for what he did. It's like the results were a bad idea. Like you can't get worse than the results. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like Simon Jordan and just a bunch of other people were very critical of like.
Simon Jordan's opinion isn't worth two shits. So.
I think he has good points sometimes, but he's very egotistical too, and he knows what drives his ratings, so he stays on brand.
Yeah. Talk Sport's all about giving outlandish opinions. They don't make their money from
throw
these
it out
things.
there and see what
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah.
I would give him a little bit more credit than that, but I get what you're saying. It's not, you're not wrong, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ollie's gone. What you got to say about it, Neil?
I think that exit interview thing, I think it depends like who initiated that. Because as Lee said, that it's unprecedented. Like it just never happens to a manager that was sacked. And one of the main reasons why it does happen, it just logically doesn't make sense, because usually when a sack happens, the club is trying to move on to something, different, something newer. And the other reason is that you don't want the guy who's just going to say something that can step on any toes of the guy incoming. Now in this case there is no guy incoming, so there's no danger of that. And also, the club isn't moving to anybody new. The club's moving on to his somebody from his very close to his coaching staff. So in fact, I think Ollie in an interview once said that the coaching staff is 20%, 25% him, 25% Carrick, Field, and then McKinnon. So
we know Neil, you're trying to dig.
So basically 75%
so just
of
dig, bro.
The problem is still there. So there was no danger. And about the exit interview, like, they did it. I think the smart thing was, because he knew he was going to be asked for comments, like people at media houses. So they did the official Manchester United website. And it's basically for the United fans, what Sam and Jordan says, what me say, what Lee says, we basically do not matter. As long as United fans are fine with it, that's the only opinion should matter. So I think there was a certain degree of like, he is a club legend. You got him in, he did give you some good times. You need some sort of closure so you guys can, move on, even from mental point of view. So
it's one of the smartest things the Glazers have done since they got there.
Right. I think the thing that really, the worst point is that an interview like that comes out, you can't get it 100% right in terms of what he says. And some of the things he said was stuff like
what?
I came here and made so many connections, and then made friends, and then reconnected with some old friends. And that's what it is all about at Manchester United. Now, if I'm a United fan, that's not what it is. And he's basically unknowingly pointing out where the fault was. That it became too much of a boys' club, too much of fraternity, instead of actually trying to push the envelope in terms of elite level coaching and management and get Manchester United to the next level. I
don't see that. I don't think reconnecting with people is an issue.
He said that's what it's all about at Manchester United.
Yeah, but that's a guy, like, you're taking things literal because you want to. So if you want to, fine. I can't, if you want to take that literally, you could take that literally. I don't see how that is damaging myself, because I just don't even understand. I heard people attack that. And I also heard people attack, right? Man United didn't have a backup plan. It's like, well, when your coach gets you second without Ronaldo, Sancho, and Varane, and then you get Ronaldo, Sancho, and Varane, and you get players to sign with you because your coach signs a new contract, and you sign a new contract, you expect them to do good. You don't expect them. It's just not. I just don't. And maybe I'm not the most organized person. I'm not anal. So when you do those things, the last thing you're looking for is a backup plan. You're like, we're going to sail on and forward. So a lot of people are just repeating this thing that somebody said and it sounds smart. But a lot of teams don't have, like, if you just sign your coach to a new 6-year contract, that means you're committed to him. You think you're going to go forward. You think this is going to work. And you gave him more ammunition to achieve your job. So I understand them in a weird way.
It makes sense why this United board did not have a backup plan because of this. Didn't they just give?
Who's your backup plan after Tuchel?
the next best guy
Who's that?
in coaching who's available at that point.
Who's that? Because
mean,
nobody's available.
But actually, you can go back 6 months back.
Mhm.
Lampard got sacked out of one bad eight game spell. Ollie's been skating on thin ice throughout his 3 years at United. So it's not just first rough spell that
When
he's
he finished fourth,
that he's
when he finished fourth, third.
well, he's
second
finished
from
he's finished
after we
finished
finished
fourth,
sixth.
but how many games have we sat here last season, the season before that going? It's been like they're overperforming XG. Like it's not sustainable.
He didn't have a. You said Lampard had an 8-game bad spell.
Mm-hmm.
Ollie never had an 8-game bad spell. Now he had.
He did. He had. I remember when Lampard got sacked, both Ollie and Klopp had a lean 8-game spell where there were not that many wins, and that was what Lampard had, like 2 wins and 8, and he's gone, and we got a top level coach.
Two wins and 8 is bad. He needs to go.
But that's my point. Like Ollie's had 2 wins and 8.
I don't think so, bro.
No, he's had, because I actually looked it up. I was trying to see like, am I crazy in thinking that's a little too ruthless?
But also 2 wins and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing. So I was talking to Lloyd today, my Villa homie, and it's like when people talk about where Ollie has finished in the past, they act as if he's finished in the past with the squad we have now. Like when you Lampard had 2 wins and 8 with Ziyech, and do I have to name the whole Chelsea?
Still way less money.
Do I have to? Let me finish. Do I have to name the same squad that you have won the Champions League with the exception
great job done by Tuchel, but my point is,
right. So, but when Ollie has a lapse, it's like, listen, there's none of our players that Chelsea would want or buy when Ollie's having it. It was a shaky De Gea.
You could have said the same about the Chelsea team when they were not doing well.
So what?
There were a lot of our players we wanted, like as fans, to to go away, and they're now at a very good level because of the level of coaching.
No, but those players were always good. Like nobody wants Fred, nobody wants McTominay. There's so many players on our team that nobody would want. But
these were all these players, though.
So what?
These were all these players. Like Ollie trusted.
Ollie
them.
did not buy Fred. He did not buy McTominay. Tominay's an academy player.
Ollie had 450 million to spend, and he did not spend it on a single DM. He was happy with his DM options.
No, he wasn't happy with the DM options. You're saying that. You're just saying that.
It's 400. I'm not talking about 450 million over 3 years. I'm not talking about he just had one window and then he had to just do it.
So let me explain that. It was only until this year did the board decide, all right, you know how Chelsea under Lampard's second season said, all right, let's stop fucking around and buy everything we need and go shopping. It's Christmas shopping. Let's get all the kids something for December. We never did that until now.
No, that's not true. I can look it up right now.
That is true.
I'm looking it up right now.
We got one player every year, 1 or 2 players every year, and
that's not true. He got 5 players in his first season: Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, can I tell you something? Can I tell you something about Bruno? We needed Bruno. We needed Bruno at the beginning of the season. It was only
but you still got him.
We got him, but we needed him. That's my whole point. Like Chelsea went and got the players when they at the beginning of the season integrated. Like and then we got Wan-Bissaka and Maguire one season. And we'd been needed an attack in mid. So we needed, and plus we needed more people. We needed DMs and we needed defenders. We needed players everywhere. So we got 2 defenders one season, right? Look it up.
You got Maguire, Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James in the same season. That's 4 signings.
Right.
That's 234 million spent. Okay. In fact, that the Lampard spending you're talking about, that was 247 million. This is 234 million euros 2 seasons back. 1920.
I'm gonna let you finish because
1920. So it's not like he just had this summer to spend, and he's having problems with assimilation.
You said we got 4 players, right?
You got 4 players, yeah.
But we needed 8. And that you can't change. You could say you got 4, but we needed 8. And then if you need 8, you need 8. You still have players in position. When the players you got, that's all you needed. The players they got for Lampard, that's all you needed. You got the goalkeeper.
Why do you think we had to get Lukaku this time? And why we still feel we need a holding DM like Declan Rice?
Listen, the players you got were supposed to work out. And then you realize that you gave them.
But why are you giving a pass to the players you guys
Stop asking me more questions when you don't let me finish answering the questions that you already asked. Because I'm answering them, and this is you trying to because here's the funny thing. At the beginning of the season, you said once we got Ronaldo, you said, why shouldn't Man United be contenders? Right? And then we had this argument because I said we need DMs, and you're like, nah, you should be contenders. Why are Chelsea considered? And then now you're telling me, and then we have discussions now about Man United and where we are, and it's the same issue you denied on us. So you change your argument or you deny things I'm saying about the team. Like when you tell me Chelsea needs something, maybe I disagree in the beginning, but I'll be like, all right, he's right about his team, and then you get that thing. Now, you said we bought 4 players and you bought 4, but we needed 8. And that's the bottom line. Because Jesse, and we got one of those 4 players halfway through the season when we should have got him. Everybody wanted that player at the beginning of the season. And then the season after that, what did we get? Look up that.
You got another 4 players.
Who do we get?
And I haven't seen 2 of them, but they did cost big money.
Who do we get?
You got Van de Beek, you got Telles, and you got Diallo and Pelestri.
Yeah, we got kids. Because so here's the thing.
So why is he spending money, 30 million on kids, like he has no plans to use?
Let me answer that. So, and again, the board gets the players a year. A lot of this is the board's fault. You understand? So, and I'm also going to use a point that you made. We had a debate about. So we got kids, right? They weren't going to start. But we got those kids because we didn't get Sancho, which you can argue that they should have just spent the money and got Sancho, because we probably would have definitely won Europa League if we got Sancho. We got Sancho a year late. So my point again is, we're always a lagging behind. We'll probably get the DMs next season that we need this season. And that's the problem.
Just a question. Do you think a world-class manager could get more out of those DMs that you do have, though?
Yeah, 100%. But
that's the thing for me. Like for me,
you do have Matic.
Player.
He's old, bro. You want him? Since you rate him like that, you want him?
Him and McTominay, I think they could do a job if they were being coached by a top-class manager. And that's the other thing for me is, like, when Chelsea fired Lampard, like, how quick did Tuchel come in? Like, it was pretty rapid.
2 days.
Whereas, like, United have fired Ollie, and it's like, man, who knows what we're doing now? Let's talk to some people. Whereas, with Chelsea, it was like, we know what we're doing.
Because Tuchel was
a chance. He's out, Tuchel's in.
Yeah, a good guy was available. Like we messed up, like we didn't get Conte because we beat Spurs, and then Spurs jumped on him.
Yeah. But almost any big club these days, they have that stuff lined up. They know when they fire someone, they've done the work already. They've already spoken to people. They've chosen their guy, and they'll be like, right, this is the direction we're going in.
But I just shit on the board anyway, so I'm not going to defend them on this.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're completely right. Like the board, the kind of decision making, the indecisiveness that they're showing is showing through in a lot of decisions. I think when it comes to selection of players, I thought one of the advantages of having somebody like Ole who's deeply embedded with the coach, and we saw that at Chelsea with Lampard and Cech for the first time in a long time. Like, I've been complaining about Chelsea's transfer windows for a long time, but that window was after a lot of years that was actually happy with where we spent our money, because, and you could see, because there was there was cohesion. Peter Cech, Lampard, Marina, they were all working together. I thought at United, with Oli being so, deeply woven into, people who are like making those decisions and stuff, he being their guy, basically, that is one thing where this should be an advantage, where you actually you're not left at the end of the transfer window thinking, oh shit, I spent all this money, but this is not exactly what I wanted.
All right. So I'm gonna agree. So I think we've agreed on the board part, right?
Yeah.
So we agreed on it. It's like Chelsea would never let their team need 8 players. You feel me? Man United's board would. So that even when they buy 4, you're still like, you're trying to win the Premier League. Man City has double the amount of players. They have starters on the bench. So you're just putting yourself in a hole. So here's where Ali could have helped himself. Lee. So this is Ali's fault. So this is the Ali part. So even today when we played, right, we still had trouble. I like today's performance in the Champions League because it was very disciplined. Everybody held their shape. And yeah, Villarreal had chances. And people always are very critical when teams get chances against Man United and say that could have been a goal, but it wasn't a goal. There's a reason why we have De Gea, and teams are gonna get chances against you. Like they train all week. They're gonna get chances. They're decent squads. Like Villarreal won the goddamn Europa League and gave Chelsea a battle to win a Super Cup. So it's like, yeah, a team is gonna have chances. So, but today the problem is our midfield still, and this is where Ali could have helped himself. He could have played Van de Beek more. Also, we have this thing where if a player is a ball winner, then he keeps his position on the field, even if he can't like move that ball up the field or make good passes. And my thing is, if you have skilled players who are good at holding onto the ball, you convert them into ball winners and keep your skill on the field and not on the sidelines. So when you mention like Ahmad he's young, he should be converted to a midfielder. Van de Beek should have been on the field. And I feel like Bailly has a lot of skill. He should be on the field so that we don't get caught when somebody presses us in the backfield. It's like when Pep came to Man City, David Silva was not a ball winner. Sergio Aguero was not a ball winner. And I could go through that Man City lineup when he first got there. He changed those attacking players into ball winners. And it's like, if somebody can, why we have too many one-dimensional players, and there's so many training sessions over 3 years where you could have converted like offensive players into midfield ball winners that could hold on to the ball. Because in the Premier League, half of our right backs and left backs used to be forwards. So why can't some forwards be midfielders? So it's just like lack of creativity and just start and play in this midfield. So I feel like Ali could have helped himself there.
Yeah, he was just a mid-tier coach who was out of his depth, which is the shame. Like I say, he shouldn't have lasted any more than a year. We got to the point where you kind of like, even they were just blinded by a few good results, weren't they? And it's like, oh, we kind of have to give it to him now, because I mean, he was on loan, wasn't he, from Mulder? It wasn't even like a permanent deal to begin with. It was like a Mulder were like, you can borrow him for a bit. And I just don't think he should have ever been given that, really, because an elite club needs an elite manager. He came in, he made people happy again after Mourinho had torched the place, and he served his purpose. And then it should have been after that, like, club legend, thank you, but now we're moving in this direction. But like you say, that needs to be driven by the board, and there is no direction or drive from that level, so he was stuck.
I mean, the fact that even right now they appointed Carrick, saying that he's being appointed till the time they find an interim manager. I found that language also pretty weird. That you're essentially saying he's an interim for an interim. So you're not even looking for a permanent manager right now.
For an interim for a permanent appointment.
Yeah. So right now the hunt that you're on is not even for a permanent manager. You're hunting for an interim manager.
Because I think we know who we want of our real manager to be and they're unavailable until probably the beginning of next season so I think.
Is that Poch?
I think that's going to be Ten Hag.
Ten Hag. I'm hoping it's
Ten Hag or Poch. I think it'll be one of the two.
Ten Hag won't leave mid-season. He's not going to do that to Ajax. But I don't want Poch, like, if he can't handle his business at PSG with the personnel who's there, I don't want him to come over here. Like, I don't want somebody who can't take the pressure of that to come over here because he thinks the pressure is easy.
He's fine. He's top of the league by a long way out there right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a full season. I just want to see him complete that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it pretty surprising that there are reports that he's looking to leave PSG.
But I read something, and he's never asked them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He never said he wanted a Man United job, and Man United has not asked or inquired or spoken to him officially.
Okay.
So for what it's worth. And then Neil, I don't mind you taking digs at Manchester United, but it's like let's say the truth at some point. And then it's like when people warp. I'm just tired of it in politics when people warp stats to fit their argument. But it's like, it's not the.
No, but I've been saying this for a while now. Like the fact that the what Oli got this summer was the icing on the cake. He's had the ingredients for the cake for a while now, and you will see other managers. You make better use of those resources.
Yeah, they will. But you still Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City, even if still have better teams, and even if we get a really good coach, I already predicted.
No,
when we did this, the who should finish where, I always said fourth.
Yeah,
I never said second, third. I said fourth. Like if Liverpool's defense doesn't get injured, we're fourth. You know, like based on our players, because we don't have DMs and we didn't convert anybody.
I just feel like one position is you're always going to have teams that are a little suspect in one position. They make up.
Man City got no strikers right now.
Yeah. I know. They don't got no strikers, but they got Pep.
I think that was the point. Like I think, like even in the initial podcast, my point was that it on paper it should be a 4-horse race. I think it'll end up being a 3-horse race because the fourth team does not have a manager of that level. So that's that's the weak point.
Well, or DMs. We can't just. We've always needed them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Matic's not completely fallen off the race. Like he's had these good games.
Listen, I never said he didn't, but ain't nobody trying to buy Matic.
Yeah, I know. I know. Like he's not prime Matic, but he can do a serviceable job. I feel. Used correctly.
Yeah, but it's. I like Matic. I'm not even trying to even go close to distance. Like, ain't nobody. Chelsea's not caught. None of the top 3 teams are like, we need to get Matic.
Yeah.
And so that's just the proof in the pudding right there. There's one thing else I want to say about United, but I can't remember it right now. It was in my head.
So who do you feel should be? What do you feel should happen? Like in terms of getting the new guy for the rest of the season, or like who should be the one coming in the summer?
So there's two choices, and I don't even know if there are 2 choices, but there's like Zidane wants to coach the French team, right? But he hasn't coached in a minute, so why not coach this till the end of the season and get back in that groove of coaching. Like, we only need you till then. You don't need to be tied up in this job so that you can miss the French job. So I feel like that window is like somebody who wants, it's cuffing season, and you need to get into a relationship for cuffing season until it's over. And I feel that's that. And then what's his name? Somebody mentioned Ernesto Valverde today. Like,
I put in the chat the story about him being available for it.
Yeah, so then he's better than I'd take him over Carrick. And then what about the what?
Massively, yeah. I mean, the guy won 2 La Ligas. I mean, he got 5 by Barcelona, who were top of the league. It was stupid that he got replaced by Koeman.
Yeah. And then
Den Haag.
Well, we're not gonna get him in the mid-season.
I see. I find that a little like if you were having this conversation a year or two ago, I would have completely agreed with you, because even I find it's hard to wrap my head around the fact that you can't just how does a manager just leave in the middle of the season? But now we've seen examples of that happening. Brendan Rodgers from Celtic and Steven Gerrard from Rangers. I don't think Ajax to United is a similar kind of jump. Like, United has the financial and the stature, that sort of pull that they can just go to Ajax and offer a sort of a compensation package and get Den Haag.
But what about if he does? Like, I've heard like him say, or interviews or people ask him, like, he doesn't personally want to do that. So he rebuilt this thing. He's invested, and they're in the Champions League, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think they're the best team in the Champions League just on stats. Yeah.
So it's like, you're gonna tell a guy he's in the Champions League with his team, and there's this great chemistry going, and it's like, he knows he can get an elite job after this season.
Or does he really though? Because I remember like 2 seasons back, they went all the way they were like 10 seconds from reaching the Champions League final
against Spurs.
And his stock was really high at that point. But the knock for that next level job has not come yet. So if it's coming now, you really want to wait again?
Yeah. I feel he's fine.
And in terms of like giving a public statement, we saw Gerrard do that about, I think we spoke about that in the last episode, that how he actually in an interview said, stop asking me these stupid questions, Listen, I'm settled here. And then 2 weeks later, he's in Villa. So.
Listen, I'm not gonna argue with you, because if we can get him now, I'll take him. I'm just not. It just sounds like we can't, but if we can get him now, I'll take him. But
I just get the feeling that there's so much indecisiveness in that Manchester United board. It's not like options aren't there. They're just caught in the headlights. They don't know how to pull the trigger.
Right, which I illustrated by how many players we got a half a season or a season after them. The indecisiveness continues. That's what we do. That's what the board is doing. That's what they need to get the people who could. I don't know. It's like, I feel like America, I can't say this because some American owners are good, like the Liverpool owners are good. Now they're good. They weren't always good.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe it's a learning curve, but we're Man United, and those guys been owners for a long time. So I can't, the statement I was going to make doesn't even make sense, because I'll be contradicting myself. But I feel like even with the Super League, American owners don't understand football and fans. And when they buy a club and think it's a business, they don't know how much is tied into the community until the community lets them hear. Like, I don't think in American sports, when people are upset with their teams, they'll be upset for like a few weeks or a month, but they still support the teams. Like, there's nobody blocking buses so that a game can't be played in America.
Well, if that happens, they just fuck off to another city, don't they? The club.
Yeah, and then the
fuck
club.
this, we're going to Vegas.
That's what happened in San Diego. The Chargers are in LA right now.
Chargers are in LA. So it's like those owners have an American ownership mentality, and they're just learning now the history.
But you know, I go back to that fact, like these are businessmen, right? Like businessmen, by the nature of what they do, no matter how they started their career, at some point they do venture out into different markets, into different industries. They don't go to a different industry and try doing what worked in the previous industry, right? They do, like, you know, they do the research. They
Have you met Americans?
No, like, I mean, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, who, like, you know, well, Elon Musk's not even American, but you know, somebody like Jeff Bezos, he's not running all his businesses the exact same way. So I'm sure there's a way to do your research when you come into a new club, a new sport, essentially a new industry, and you find out what has worked in the past here.
Sometimes intelligent people just don't listen, man, or they wouldn't have like agreed to the Super League, and just, you know, it's just so many. They just don't get it, bro.
Yeah, I can understand that, like, but you know, you're hurting your product. At least that should tell you, like, it's
financially they're winning though, and they think that's cool for them. Like, you have to think, Man U makes so much money, and I agree with you, but I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I'm just telling you the facts. Like that you're saying, define hurting your product.
No, but that's very short-term thinking, because Man U has had a long runway because of the, you know, whatever happened in the previous 20-25 years. Like, you've had essentially 2 generations worth of fans cultivated during that period of success that's lasting you. It's now been a decade of not winning anything significant. If this goes on, the next generation isn't gonna, you know, and that's when your money dries up. Newer markets, you know, newer generations. So
you need to win.
You need to win at some point. You can only keep talking about
Chelsea and Man City are building a Manchester United legacy that's going to send ripples into generations of fans, so that decades from now, even if you win once in a while, like, you have that history, the same way we have the history to get all the fans and the money that we got now. And like, don't let time will take a long time to change on you, but when it does, there's nothing you could do about it. So
I mean, you know, Liverpool, I mean, we have examples of that.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's talk about a team that really stinks, Chelsea, and their lackluster performance this weekend to barely beat Leicester 3-0, scraped by, and also their lucky Champions League win against Juventus. And if you wasn't home, you'd have never beat them 4-0. And it's Chelsea Kids Day. How you feel about your team?
I just want to say what, you know, I read this on Twitter. Somebody said that Chelsea Academy is one of the top 5 clubs in Europe.
Hilarious.
And it might not be that far off the mark.
It's a more successful Southampton, but for the league. Like, Southampton is a feeder club for Liverpool. Chelsea's academy is like the French league.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about, like, it's been bubbling under the surface, and there've been so many doubters even among the Chelsea fan base, because you know, unless you have proof, you can keep talking about talent on paper. Unless they show up on these big nights, they get opportunities, you know, nobody's ever gonna rate them. But now you're seeing, it looks like the shackles have been, you know, they've been unshackled, and every week there's somebody, like today, a bunch of them putting their hands up and, you know, flying that academy flag. And they're doing that for Chelsea, they're doing that for Southampton, they're doing that for Crystal Palace, they're doing that for so many different clubs, you know, AC Milan, they're doing that all over the continent. So yeah, I mean, today again, there's been a period under Tuchel, I think, where there were question marks over the attacking fluidity. But I was seeing signs even before, you know, like, the goals are coming in now, but even before the goals had started coming, I had seen signs of where we're going to be fine, because I think we really need to get Chilwell and Reece James playing. The initial part of this of the season, it was Alonso and Aspi playing.
Right.
I think that has taken our team to the next level, because really for this system to work, you need your first choice attacking wing backs, and yeah, they've been great. I think Hudson-Odoi this is the first time in his senior career he's had 7 starts in a row, and he's really, finally Tuchel is like kind of believing in him, and he's got that trust, and it's showing like we are a much more fluid team with him playing there, and he's now finally adding end product to his game, and it just looks a very, like, defensively. Sometimes I feel like when I watch other teams, it's just hilarious when they try and set attacks up, because I'm like, why are you even trying? Like, Thiago Silva just nicks it off with the slightest of effort. So people are essentially reduced to trying long ranges, and Mendy's alert.
Yeah,
so
after that Tielemans won in the FA Cup final, he's like, no more long ranges.
that was Kepa. You remember we had this conversation.
That was
I remember
Kepa?
fighting with people in the
Oh
comments
yeah, my bad.
saying that, that was just a banger. No keeper would have gone to that. And I was like, no, Mendy, he's 5 inches longer, and he's an actual goalkeeper. So he would have gone to that.
Whoa, you're talking about your Super Cup champion you disrespecting like that? Wow.
Penalty Kepa.
Penalty Kepa, exactly.
Well, actually, I have to depend on Kepa if you want to do something in the league, because AFCON's coming up, and Mendy's going to be gone for a month.
Oh shit! So let's see how y'all deal with that. But the thing I do like about Tuchel is even the players on the fringes are inside, don't feel like they're on the fringes.
Yeah.
And he'll use everybody, and that's the thing. Like, Ole needed extra players and didn't use them, and Tuchel doesn't, and he still uses them. Like, you'll see guest appearances and features from people like Ross Barkley and just all these players like Cheeks, Loftus Cheeks, and you're like, wait a minute. And then now there was a Sal Niguez sighting today.
Yeah.
As like, Lee, tell Neil how much Chelsea stinks.
I think that the big thing for them as well is that, like, the goals are coming from all over the place as well right now. Like, we said this for the last 2 weeks, like, there's defenders scoring, the wing backs are scoring, the midfielders are scoring, the forwards are scoring. Like, it's not like if you stop one guy, you stop Chelsea kind of thing, like you do with some other teams. There's some teams in the league where if you stop their main guy or their 2 main guys, then you probably stop them from beating you. But with Chelsea, it's like, well, if you defend the wide areas and you stop the wing backs from doing their thing, then there's other players that can hurt you, or that one of the defenders will hurt you on a set piece or something.
Right.
So I think that's one of the really impressive things this season. Like, I don't know how many it is, but I'm pretty sure like almost every player on the Chelsea team has scored a goal this season, it feels like.
I think we've had 17 different goal scorers. We've kind of like, anybody who can remotely score has scored. So I think the only people who haven't scored are the 3 goalkeepers right now. So
your defenders be scoring like crazy.
Yeah.
Like your wing backs, Chalobah, Rudiger.
Yeah.
Silva and Christensen have popped up with goals.
Yeah.
Alonso, Chilwell, James.
Yeah.
All of them.
I feel like they were like, shit, Werner ain't scoring. Let me practice my shooting so that when he misses these opportunities, we can fill in for him. But he scored today, right?
He scored today. Yeah. Ziyech had a very... Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I thought Ziyech had a position change today, but it really wasn't. But he was in the middle of a park a lot, or was I imagining?
He came in a lot. I think he was trying to play that half space 10 in the first half, and he was just not working. He was terrible, like in that first half. In fact, even a little after that first half. But then he started coming in a lot deeper. Ziyech is one of those guys who, like, I really don't understand what is it like. Does he have a place on the pitch that he prefers more than the others? Because he has had bad games in a bunch of different positions, but then in matches like today, where he actually changes the way he's playing, he's able to impact after the slight tactical switch. I remember against Malmo, he and Hudson switched wings,
Right.
and he was really good after that switch. So I'm sure, like in the background, there's a lot of technical stuff happening with Ziyech. But yeah, I mean, if he does what he did today for the last 30 minutes, 35 minutes, he'd be a real asset to this team, because he can, unlock defenses, and you need somebody like that.
I feel like you got him because of that Champions League game
Against us.
Ajax.
Yeah,
where he just went off, and he has the fire and the spirit. I don't know, something's wrong with just those 3 signings from last year. They haven't completely fit in. You guys are doing fine regardless, but it's just they're all from different leagues, and they just haven't 100% settled in yet. But that's another fear. Like when those guys do settle in, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Look, Lukaku's yet to come back. I think it's good. I think Lukaku will be ready for the next game, but I think we've had now
in Champions League or regular Premier League.
I think he might, because he's on the bench today. So I have a feeling he will be ready for the United game on the weekend.
So what do you think your chances are of beating United? Like 0 or 2%, 3%? What's so funny, Lee? I ask these are real questions. These are hard hitting. Like I know you're worried. Like how worried are you?
I think if we
with Carrick at the wheel,
I think if we even partially take our chances, it should be a very comfortable win. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, so like against Burnley, we created a million chances, but we just got 1 goal. So
against Burnley, but that wasn't this weekend, right?
That was the previous weekend. Yeah, just before the international break.
That's just football sometimes.
Yeah, so I don't want to it's just football. Like against this Manchester United team, like we really have to.
You're worried about Carrick like that? Jesus.
Neil's hoping they just have some of Ollie's coaching left in their heads, like some residual Ollie
it's there.
Just still there. Yeah,
it's all there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Villarreal created chances today. It's just that we were just better shape wise, and Sancho stayed really disciplined, and it kind of had to. There was always this player on the wing, in the back, like cheating down, and it just kept. You couldn't even.
Oh, the Juma.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I said, how many people they got on the field? They have this extra guy on the left, kind of shooting past him the entire fucking game, which kept him up against, like, in this space so that the person couldn't pass down the middle, but also he had to guard the wing.
Yeah, Sancho had a very good game. I thought, like even before the goal.
Right. Yeah.
But like the 2 goals came from mistakes from Villarreal. I don't think you're gonna have those kind of mistakes against Chelsea.
Well, so okay, the game today, right? The one thing I didn't say about the game today was there's sometimes when you're watching a game, you don't know what type of game it is, and there was a point in the game that it occurred to me what type of game this was, and I said, and sometimes when I'm watching a game with Martin, I'll figure it out. Now somebody's there and I'll say it. But I was watching the game and say, oh, like, I shouldn't worry about this performance. I said, all Manchester United needs to do is keep on doing what they're doing. This game, somebody's going to make a mistake, and it just doesn't have to be them. And it was just that type of game. It's like they can't, like, feel pressure to put in a better performance than they're doing it now. Because if they do, they're going to do something that's not disciplined and make a mistake. So just stay up. This is fine. Like everybody is like, well, Man United, we should be better against Villarreal. But some games, like Villarreal, can present difficulties And you can't disrespect them by losing your shape and trying to play hero.
Yeah.
And then they settled. And then when the moment came when Fred pressed the guy and he coughed it up, Ronaldo put it in, and then it opened up more. So there was some type of growth today. I don't know if it's Carrick related or what, but it's definitely some type of growth today. What else you guys want to talk about? Any other Champions League teams like Barcelona 0-0 and they need to win the next game, or they need to tie and Benfica to lose, but Barcelona is going to play at Bayern with Bayern's team. The only good thing is Bayern has already qualified, so they might bench everybody, but and play their.
I think they need something there, because I think Benfica will beat Dinamo Kiev.
Right.
So they need something there. But yeah, I mean, Xavi's had 2 clean sheets now. First 2 games, 2 clean sheets. They beat Espanyol 1-0 at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But Espanyol had chances in that game as well. Like Raul de Thomas for Espanyol missed like 3 huge chances, like hit the post, forcing saves. So yeah, the whole Xavi era is going to be interesting to watch. He's called even more kids from the academy up as well.
I was talking to Moa today.
Yeah.
So he calls me up and he's like, "Did you watch the game? Did you see it? Did you see what we're doing? Did you see it?" And I said, "Hey man, the best. Who did they play?
He's gassed.
Benfica. He's gassed." I said, Benfica had a goal scratch that probably shouldn't be scratched. And at the end of the game, they had a chance that should have won. And
open goal, right?
Open goal, right.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys had 2 chances. That's what they showed in the highlights. He said, we had 7. I said, you might be exaggerating when you say 7. And I said, if this was a Koeman performance, you guys would have been like, fire him. So it's so funny how biased the Barca fans are towards Koeman compared to Xavi. Like, yeah, he won at the weekend, but barely. That wasn't even a penalty. I watched that game. The Memphis Depay, the guy got the ball. The Memphis Depay goes down, and the ref points to the spot. And I'm expecting VAR to overturn that thing, and they don't. And everybody in ESPN studio is shocked, and they win off that. And it's like, and everybody's like, the Xavi era has started. If this was a Koeman performance, they would have won 1-0, and everybody's like, fire him.
Yeah, that's one that would be judged over time, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean, I hope. But I was telling Moa today. I said, Moa, why do you hate Koeman so much? He goes to the beginning of the season, training camp's about to start, and he hears no Messi, and he watches Messi do a press conference, say goodbye, and get on a flight to PSG. Then he has Braithwaite, and he has Griezmann, and he's like, all right, Sergio Aguero's only 32. He's going to get better, and then I'll use him. So then the season starts, and then Braithwaite gets injured. And so, all right, I got Griezmann and Memphis. And then Barcelona said, hey, man, you know that Griezmann that scored 20 goals and had like double digits assists? We just loaned him to one of our rivals. So now you just got Memphis. So now every team knows all they got is Memphis. So it's harder for their one Memphis to score. So then they bring back Sergio Aguero and Ansu Fati, and they both get injured. And everybody's like, fire Koeman. Meanwhile, he's starting 17, 18, and 16-year-olds. And it's like, I said, hey, man, you're going to have a rough season. No matter who coaches this team, you're going to have a rough season with Xavi. So I just watched. So it's like, he's not going to do anything better than Koeman. Like, they claim Koeman was a shitty coach. I was like, he's like, look at his performance today. We pressured them and we put passes together. You did that in El Clasico against Real Madrid. It's just that they broke on you on one play, and Vinicius Jr. put the ball in the back of the net. and then they got you on another play, but you outpossessed them, and Memphis should have scored earlier in the first half of that game. So it's just biased.
So what I'm hearing is that you would take Koeman at United. That's what I'm hearing right here.
Yes, yeah. For half the season, yeah. Koeman or Carrick?
Let
me ask you a question: Koeman or Carrick?
Koeman.
All right, that's all right. I'm not crazy then. Koeman or Carrick, Neil? You can have whatever answer you want.
No, I would say Carrick, because the moment you put Koeman in, that means you're committed to Ronald Koeman. So you can get rid of Carrick at any point. So
no, but
what if
the deal was
on a day-to-day, on a week-to-week basis? Yeah, sure, Koeman.
Yeah,
like
cool.
If you can have it on an hourly per hour, have him on minimum wage, yeah, sure.
Yeah, what's the thing where an American company doesn't make you a part-time?
Part-time hourly employee. Yeah, temp. Yeah. Get him in.
He doesn't even get a parking spot at the training ground. You have to park down the street. You don't even get yeah. We didn't give you a uniform or anything.
And you don't get a key card to eat in the cafeteria.
Yeah. Just taking training in his old Barca kit still.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Any other games impressed y'all today? Bayern.
Liverpool the weekend impressed me.
Oh yeah, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah,
they let Arsenal know that all that we're coming back. We've turned the corner. That's not for real, bro.
Go ahead.
You gotta go back, because Arsenal, I think they've scraped by a few games, and they've had good performance too. I think Tottenham and I want to say Aston Villa was a good performance, but they've also scraped by a few games. Brighton, Crystal Palace. So this, you can't scrape by Liverpool if you're not at a very good level, and Liverpool kind of showed them up, even though they were in the game for a while.
Arsenal beat Brighton.
Yeah.
Liverpool didn't even beat Brighton.
Yeah.
Just 2-2.
No, I mean, a lot of teams beat Brighton, but I'm saying that was a very scrappy performance by Arsenal.
When Arsenal beat Leicester,
I don't even think, did they even beat Brighton, or did they draw with Brighton? I think they drew with Brighton.
Yeah, it's 1-1, I think.
It's 1-1. I'm just saying, Brighton, when you say scrape, I can just say the same thing for... Brighton gives people trouble, man. They're not like...
No, but they still, that's what I'm saying. Brighton were the better team, but Arsenal, literally did nothing but got a point. And same with Crystal Palace, they got a point just at the end. Those should have been losses, just on a performance basis. But so my point is, they've been on an unbeaten run, but it kind of that unbeaten run is not really reflective of the way the way they have been performing.
Well, like I was saying, Ramsdale is their best player during a lot of that run. If your goalkeeper is your best player, then you're not playing that great.
Well, De Gea is our best player, so
exactly.
Well, yeah, that's my point.
But what's happening in football? Where, because Neil just did it, but I also heard somebody on one of those pundits taking away wins and points from Arsenal after the loss. It's hey man, they played the 90 minutes. The result is the result. Everybody knew what the rules were. The team got the points, and then they even did it with Ali. They keep on bringing up the last game with Villarreal. I think they pretty much lost to Villarreal, but they scraped by, and they bring up they keep on bringing up. It's hey man, they listen, when at the end of the day, those wins were wins, and those losses were losses, and those ties were ties. Yeah, and then also listen, teams are going to present difficulties to you. Nope, they say they barely got a point at Crystal Palace. Well, Crystal Palace is fucking people up right now, so give Crystal Palace their props. Yeah, it's a Premier League. All the games are going to be tough, And
Arsenal's fifth though, even after that loss.
yeah.
No, I mean, I think, Ian, what you're saying is that
Mhm.
there's now, it used to be in the past where you just had data on, like, who's winning, who's losing, right? But now you have a lot of, it's not about that you don't, a scrappy win is a scrappy win. And at times in the league season, those can be pivotal to where a team finishes, right? Like
Right.
we won against Brentford, probably a game that we didn't deserve to win. But we actually got all 3 points, not even a draw. It was a very, very scrappy win. Mendy won us that game. But if that keeps happening again and again and again, at some point it's not going to be sustainable. And that's where, like, some of these underlying statistics are like, it's not just a fan thing anymore. Like actual coaching staffs are looking at it as an indicator of where you're at. And I think with Arsenal, if you look at those numbers, it's actually pretty bad. They're 19th on you can't be 19th on XG and think that you've turned a corner.
Can I tell you something though? With Arsenal's new players just getting together, that's where they should be in XG. And the fact that they won those games or got points is good. Now, I would just wait till later on in the season. Like this team, it's at the beginning of its journey. It's like, I'm not looking at this team as a finished article.
I'm sorry, they're not 19th on XG. Somebody's going to kill me. They're mid-table on XG. I think they're 19th on big chances created. That's one of the things that I was looking at.
They should be further up the table based on the big chances they created against Spurs alone. But I just say that, like they're doing better than I expected. They're fifth, and these players are only going to get better. That's my whole point. They're not going to get worse. They're only going to get better. They're going to learn how to play together more. So wherever they are now, it's just we're watching them grow. So even I said it last week, the loss to if they lose to Liverpool, which they did, it's just a measuring stick. Like, all right, this is what we need to do to not let that happen. And then Tavares, who's normally money, who's come on the field, owned Tierney's spot, just had 2 amateur mistakes. I think he's been flying so much, he felt like invincible and felt like I could just take on these people and dribble because that's what I've been doing. And then he did it, and Liverpool said, no, we gobble up scraps. We're jumping on this. And thank you, little kid. You there's another level to this, and we're at it. And
if you're a young fullback, like the big test is when you play Liverpool, because their strength is in the areas you're going to be up against, which is their wingers. So I mean, I'm sure he'll learn from it.
Yeah, they chased him inside. He couldn't go up the wing, and he lost the ball inside. And I think they got like 2 goals, and that's where it all started to fall apart. It's it's a kid. He's done good. He's won in some games, but I was like, this is a great moment for him to learn from, like the do's and the don'ts, and when he doesn't know when you should always do something. And I think Liverpool is making him consider that. Who else do you guys want to talk about?
I mean, they're not going to face Liverpool every game. So they just, it's fine. Like, I think they have the building blocks of a pretty decent team. And as we were saying, like, I think in the league, the top 3 are kind of pulling away. But beyond that, there's not a clear order of things, there's a lot of teams that are going up and down. So
you better worry. They're only 9 points behind you. I would panic. If I was you. Wolves is slowly doing a little something.
Yeah, they ended that West Ham streak.
Someone
had to.
Someone had to. And what do you guys think of Tottenham and Conte and beating Leeds? First of all, being down 1-0 to Leeds at home. But they came back.
Yeah, we were having some fun in the chat with Martin on that one, weren't we? I was so disappointed to see them pull that back.
Yeah.
But I think overall they deserve the result there.
Yeah.
Got to give props to Conte for coming in, and he's getting the results. He's unbeaten so far. So one win in the Europa Conference, draw in the league, and winning the league. Yeah, it's what he's been brought in to do, isn't it?
Right. And who scored that? Was that Reguilón or Lo Celso? Because I mixed
Reguilón scored the winner with the rebound off the free kick.
And he said, like,
I think Heiberg scored the first goal.
Right.
Heiberg, yeah.
But
cut back.
He was talking about how much
they were horrible in that first half.
Yeah.
Like Spurs, they were literally not present in anything going forward.
Yeah, I thought Leeds was Spurs. The crowd was booing them.
Yeah.
How is a crowd that's excited to get Conte get turned against them in his first home game? And they were booing, which is crazy. That stadium has never hosted a title. Like one, and the crowd was booing.
It worked.
Say again?
It worked.
Yeah, it worked, I guess.
Spurs fans are being taught that if they boo, they get what they want this season. They booed Nuno, he left. They booed the team for losing to Leeds at half time. They won. So maybe they need to boo before kickoff.
Maybe
they booed Harry Kane and he might stay now. So
but Conte is so temperamental. It's like, you people don't deserve me. How dare you boo me?
Yeah, you tried booing Antonio Conte for a little while more. He's gonna bring a gun to the stadium.
Yeah, he knows what the leverage is.
But it was fun to see like him being so passionate at full time and completely, going full Conte. I love seeing that. I've missed seeing that for a while, even though it's for Spurs. I think it's fun. It adds more flavor to the Premier League.
Neil never gets over his exes.
I don't even particularly like this one.
Oh, yeah. Like, when he talked about the Chelsea Academy earlier, he mentioned Italy. So he's talking about Tomori. And he's watched AC Milan games. You just know.
I watched Sassuolo too for Jeremy Boga.
See? And then so then you and it's like now you like, I missed that. You have Tuchel. There's no room to miss.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're still hilarious.
I don't miss Conte. I mean, he took Chelsea to court. I mean,
he did for what?
Yeah, for wrongful dismissal, because he wanted to get his full payout, and we are like, nah, we won't pay you.
So did he win?
I don't fancy going up.
He won.
Hilarious.
He won, but he won though. He was right. We were just trying to be shitty, but
so he won 2 titles at Chelsea.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Lee?
Oh no, that was it.
What do you think about Villa getting their first win?
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I don't think they necessarily played great, but they turned the result out. So that's what you want in your first game with a new manager. Get that momentum going. It's a clean sheet and a win against Brighton, so they've obviously done something right. I thought Brighton didn't play that badly though, and I didn't think Villa were great, but took their chances, got the goals.
Yeah, that's a tough team for Villa to beat, because Brighton's like, I think above them or was in the table, has been doing good and giving like even Liverpool and other teams a tough time. So for Villa to beat Brighton, it's kind of it's not an easy matchup if you're Gerrard and it's your first time coaching Villa, and the way Graham Potter's been. But that extra effort from Mings, saving that ball from going out and then running back in, that's very Gerrard-esque. And then putting it in the back of the net.
Yeah. I saw a video of his first training session, and it looked like everything they were doing was at a good tempo, and the players looked like they were enjoying themselves. So I think it'll be interesting to see how long that initial good feeling lasts, and then how good is he at keeping it going and getting some consistency there. But I mean, great way to start with a win against one of the toughest teams in the league. He's
got to play somebody this week. I think he played at the same time as as Vieira, right?
Yeah.
So he's up against Vieira this weekend.
Mm.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, 2 Premier League all-star centre mids.
Yeah, Hall of Famers. Yeah. Even though
Benteke going back to his old club now that Vieira's turned him back into a Premier League forward.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's when the last place he was successful in the league.
Yeah, he's
up till now.
Yeah, Vieira's transformed him.
Yeah. So that's
he used to miss a lot of chances. I think he still does miss a few chances, but I think he's just creating so much that he's here. Overall, he's getting more shots at it.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to miss them from point blank, or just whatever curse was on him is gone. It almost he played like there was a curse on him. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Who else of note? We talked about Leeds.
Eddie Howe's first game.
So what? Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Was it really though?
Yeah.
I mean, is
he going to be back for the next game?
I don't know. Next game's against Arsenal.
No.
Yeah, it's against Arsenal this weekend. How was your first game in charge in a hotel room with a plague?
Yeah.
I remember there was a period when Moyes was doing that for West Ham, wasn't he?
And they were winning.
Yeah.
That's when they started winning.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the key then.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Eddie Howe's like, that worked for him. I'm gonna get a coach from a TV.
I mean, it sucks for Eddie Howe because I think Newcastle had a good result, but because of the fact that Norwich went ahead and won their same game in a row,
right?
They are now bottom. They're not the only team without a win. They're bottom of the league.
This is what you wanted, Neil.
Yeah, this is what I wanted. But it's before they can make any signings, it's gonna be those 19 games, and they're I think on 6 points right now. Yeah, 6 points. I think they're trending to be nowhere near the 40 points that's traditionally known as.
Yeah, still the only team in the league that haven't won a game.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's starting to bunch up a bit with the teams above them as well. Like, obviously, Norwich took points off us. Newcastle and thingy drew. Watford won. Villa won. So Burnley got points. So it's all becoming quite condensed down there now.
Right. And I'm looking at the games of the two teams above them. So Norwich is above them, and Norwich got Wolves. So that's not easy for Norwich. And Burnley has Spurs, a Conte Spurs, and they have Newcastle. And if I go up to Leeds has Brighton, Hove, Albion, which ain't easy. So they could all lose.
Or they could all win. It's the beauty of the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Watford's in a good moment. Like, they sacked Oli. So, I mean, they're going to have
the couple of weeks ago against Southampton, they were really poor. Like, really, really poor. We beat them 1-0, but it should have been so much more. They're such an up and down team. They had that like crazy win at Everton.
Yeah.
And then they went and lost the next week. So yeah, they're so up and down, it seems. So
you're telling me Leicester's going to beat them this week? They win one, lose one. They lose one, win one, lose one, win one. And they beat us last week, so they're going to lose to Leicester this week.
Quite possibly.
Oh no! They beat Everton.
Is that Leicester? Is that Brendan Rodgers' last game for Leicester?
I mean,
that's another club you could take a manager off.
I would, but there's a lot of people that saying they won't. But I would take him. But there's people.
Want a Liverpool reject?
I think that might be a thing. Like, an ex-Liverpool manager.
A good manager is a good manager. I don't know what to tell Man United fans.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, he's coaching a team that has limited depth, and they're going to an injury period, but he's developed a lot of players that even any top team in the league above them would want. And every year they sell someone that's on a team that finishes in the top 4. And if they didn't do that, they'd be challenging more. And they finish 5 every year. So it's like the top teams aren't selling one of their best guys every year. And so they're finishing 5th, like the last 3 years, but they still won an FA Cup. So is Brandon, people are saying, what has Brandon Rodgers won? But I think you got to look at all the factors involved with like him finishing 5th.
Yeah, you can definitely do worse. I think Ten Hag and Poch would be better,
right?
Either of those options. But I mean, Rodgers certainly wouldn't be a terrible option. He's definitely an upgrade on what you've had before.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's helped get Ali fired. They gangbang fired him. Everybody took a piece every week up until last week.
You want to try and make a deal? You say like, we'll hire you, but you need to bring in DD.
Hilarious.
I mean, Brendan Rodgers, like Leicester were terrible over the weekend.
Against you guys.
Against us, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They literally, like, they were at home. The crowd started booing at halftime because they were not present at all. I think at halftime they had an XG of 0.00. That's just how absolutely ineffective they were anywhere in the Chelsea half.
Where do you go to find teams XG?
There's a couple of places. Yeah. There's I mean, I use a bunch of, like, there's FBref, and then there's
FBref is one up. Yeah.
I really like FBref because their model has accounts for, so they have 2 different stats that they give out. One is the XG, which is essentially based on a snapshot of everything that's happening at the moment somebody's taking a shot. So, where the defenders are, how far it's from goal, where the goalkeeper is, etc. But they have another stat, which is the post-shot XG, which tells you the XG, but now also accounting for where the striker is, where for the player has hit it. So it's the same thing. A shot would have the same XG, but if you hit it in the top corner, it would have a higher post-shot XG than if you hit it straight to the keeper.
You said a higher post-shot XG?
Post-shot XG. So I really like that because it actually gives a idea about where the defenders are making a difference versus where the goalkeeper is making a difference, and at the other end, how good a finisher you are. I mean, if your finishing is really good, but the goalkeeper is still making a worldy save, you can't really blame the defender a lot. But if you're hitting straight to the keeper, that's something you need to work on.
They've got XG stats by player as well on there, haven't they, too? Which is
right,
good.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You can see which strikers are outperforming theirs and things like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you go on that to figure out who you're going to have on your fantasy team? Do people do that?
I'm guessing people do that.
Yeah, I haven't got that sort of time on my hands.
I've never looked up XG. Like, I'd have to, even the way you're explaining, I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I think it looks a little complicated because of the terminology, and if you start explaining, just think of it as a way, like, even when you watch games without, just if you watch it in a bubble, you'll see the flow of certain games, and you'll know that, this team is playing better, but the scoreline does not reflect that. Essentially, XG is an attempt to give you a picture of how it's looking, whether it if certain
Where Arsenal
best
would
on
be in the table
performances,
if the game was scored
Yeah.
on XG.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
like
the
if
thing
it,
it doesn't take into account like playing style or anything as well. Like it's just cold hard
Right.
facts. It's like
Yeah.
who created the best chances that would give them a probability of a goal,
Yeah.
and did they take those chances?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming Chelsea has a high XG.
I think we're in the top 2 or 3. Liverpool is top.
Yeah, Liverpool's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And interestingly, Tuchel, and like a lot of you'd see a lot of commentators and stuff like who kind of old school. They kind of look down upon XG, but now you're seeing actual managers. Tuchel actually came out this yesterday or the day before saying that we've had good games, we have a high XG, and he's publicly saying that. So which means that. And if he's the only person saying that, I'm pretty sure there's coaching staffs all over the Premier League who are actually looking into this data and trying to figure out where they need to change things.
Ollie's probably home going, shit, I should have tried using XG.
Well, I'm looking at it now, and we're 7th in the XG table. So I need it to start translating soon.
So at Christmas, let's see who's top of the XG table. And then by the end of the season, let's see who won the XG Premier League.
I mean, it's fairly reflective. Norwich and Newcastle are the bottom 2. Spurs are 5th. Spurs are 5th from bottom.
Where's Man U?
Yeah, most of it correlates though. Like the top 4, they're not in the same order, but the top 4 correlates.
Dude, what's the top 4 XG?
Liverpool, City, Chelsea, West Ham.
Oh, okay. West Ham. Where's Man U in the XG?
5th.
Man U at 5th.
Shit.
Arsenal are like way down bottom of the table. Well, not bottom, like bottom half of the table.
Damn.
Yeah, Arsenal are like, where are they? 1, 2.
But so United is 5th on XG. You remember the post-shot XG I was talking about?
Yeah.
United are 14th on post-shot XG.
Meaning after the shot?
Yeah. So basically,
and what does that
you guys
mean?
are getting, you're essentially not shooting in the areas where it makes it very tough for the keeper to save.
Okay.
Also, United are 16th in expected goals against.
Oh yeah, we should be even lower.
Which means, you give up a lot of chances this season.
We're now negative in goals. We've let in more goals, one more than we've scored.
Something that's really impressive. Palace are 3rd on expected goals against.
Yeah.
So they're the 3rd hardest to score on?
To create good chances against.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Man City are the only team with an expected goals against lower than 10.
Yeah.
You said Man City is the only what?
The only team with expected goals against that's lower than 10.
So they're hard to score against. They're the hardest team to create chances against.
Well, to create good goal scoring opportunities against,
And on post-shot XG against, Manchester United 19th. Only Norwich is below.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So basically, De Gea has been saving you guys a lot.
Yeah. He's like when you guys said earlier about Ramsdale shouldn't be your best player. Like even today, what he did, those saves, those strong one-arm saves. Like there was one shot today. The player went up to him, was like, he couldn't believe.
That was a great save. That was the one with the volley into the ground, wasn't it? Where it bounced and he's got the big hand up to put it around the post. Yeah. And
he just kept us in the game. But you're gonna create chances against us. But thank God, we saved them. Is there anything anybody wants to say before we call this Thanksgiving episode?
Just pray for Southampton this weekend
It's just
playing
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
at Anfield.
They don't.
We are the Thanksgiving turkeys this weekend. We got nothing to be thankful for.
They do.
I'm hoping the Chelsea kids have an added motivation to, take some points off the title contender.
What's the big game this weekend? Hold on a second. Are you saying?
No, the big game is United-Chelsea.
When you said title contender, threw me.
No, I was saying
the
the Chelsea kids on Southampton might have an added motivation to get some points off Liverpool.
From Liverpool.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. You're just
City West Ham should be
points
interesting as well.
Oh, that's who City's
Yeah,
playing. Yeah. Because West Ham's coming off a loss, so I think City can beat them, even though West Ham beat Liverpool.
Yeah. Joey, I think he's a listener of the podcast. And he's right after the Newcastle game. He DM'd me saying Brentford didn't get the memo that Newcastle aren't supposed to win. So he keeps track of that.
Would you take Chelsea not winning the league if it meant Newcastle got relegated?
No.
So
No. That's
okay,
too.
So, you're not that.
Yeah. No.
He's not that petty.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted those points against Burnley, even though I know that probably the 1 point probably might help Burnley against Newcastle.
He wants Chelsea to win the last title they're ever going to win before Newcastle gets their shit together and dominates, and they rename it the Newcastle Premier League.
Winning the treble next season under Eddie Howe.
Oh, is that going to be the Checker Trade Trophy, the championship? What else are they going to play?
They can win the FA Cup down there.
They should really, UEFA tries to do all these different kind of things. They should really have a European competition for the second divisions across Europe.
They
I
don't.
think that make more sense than having a conference league.
Yeah.
You're just wasting everybody's time with the conference league.
Yeah. I just thought of this. So Newcastle goes down, right? They could next year, if they went down, have the strongest FA Cup team in the history of the FA Cup, and probably and actually.
If they go down, they'll have a tough time getting players. So one season in the championship might turn into two.
Does an FA Cup team get into Europe?
No.
Yeah.
Well, unless
If
you
you
win
win it.
something. Yeah.
If you win it. So what if Newcastle?
Or if the other team you're playing against win it, but they're already in Europe, you get the European spot as well.
Yeah.
So what if a team that's not in the Premier League wins the FA Cup?
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah.
So there was a team who didn't win it, which was Millwall, got to the final against Man United.
Right.
And Man United were in the Champions League through the league. So Millwall got the Europa League or UEFA Cup spot because they got to the final. Wigan won the FA Cup and got relegated, so they were in Europe the next season as a championship team.
Yeah,
Right.
That's exactly the scenario we're talking about right now.
That'll be crazy.
Roberto Martinez.
So do you get in Champions League, or if you win Europa League?
Europa League. Yeah.
So Newcastle gonna have a terrible year, go down, but win the FA Cup, and if they don't come back up right away,
They can then win the Champions League.
They can
and
still
then stay in the Champions. They can win the Europa League the next year, and then get to the Champions League that way.
But also, they can lure players to the championship, saying, "We're in Europe." So we're playing we're playing in this league that's not the Premier League, but we're in Europe and we got money. Do you want to come play in Europe, but for the championship? It's pretty. All right. So yeah, I think we covered everything.
Dean Smith
there's
got his
games
first
tomorrow.
win. Dean Smith.
Oh, we covered that before you got here, Neil. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
You got anything you want? What you want to say about it, Neil?
I mean, Southampton had a good start. It's just, and I mean, Pookie, he keeps coming up with these goals.
Bad goalkeeping. He's bad goalkeeping.
I think against a team like Norwich, you just need to hold on to your lead for a little while longer, and they're under such pressure that you kind of can break them when you're ahead.
We felt bad for Dean Smith. We lost him his job the week before. We didn't want to lose him a new job immediately again. We're like, let's take some pity on this guy. I mean, Alex McCarthy definitely took pity on him.
Yeah.
Let me see who does not.
That was a good game. I was like half following that because Southampton has our boys, and then Billy Gilmore had his first start in like ages, and he got man of the match. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Did
Cantwell play for Norwich?
I think he did. Yeah.
He came back. Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's been injured.
Been out injured for a while. Yeah.
That'd be crazy if Dean Smith can actually pull it off. I don't think anybody can, get them keep them afloat.
You know the irony of Dean Smith being at Norwich is Cantwell is like Norwich's version of what's his name? Grealish, yeah. And being put in that situation where, like, I can't understand how Cantwell wasn't bought the last time Norwich was in the Premier League. But if he saves them, like, somebody's definitely going to want Cantwell.
Yeah, I agree.
I like Aaron's there, the right back as well. He shouldn't go down. If they go down again, he needs to leave. I'm surprised he stayed with them last time.
Right.
Like Bayern Munich were looking at him last time.
Oh yeah.
He assisted Pookie's goal, I think, against us. He's a good player.
And who y'all got tomorrow with Champions League? PSG versus Man City?
I think 1-1.
There are rumors that Pochettino might stay over in Manchester.
Hilarious.
He's just going to get a cab.
Hilarious. Let me see who else might be difficult. Atletico Madrid versus Milan.
Yeah, that'd be a good game. Isn't it the rematch between Real Madrid and Sheriff?
Madrid lost to Sheriff on day one of Champions League. Is that what happened?
At the Bernabeu as well?
Right. Yeah, so it's regret. Like, so I text you guys about Vinicius Jr.
Yeah.
And for real, y'all should just. This is some historical shit. I don't want to jinx it, but it's like you always wonder where the next people are gonna come from, and then when you see them playing, you're like, that's them.
Yeah,
he's them.
I think he's been thought of, exactly what you're saying. Like, the next guy from Brazil. He's been thought of in that ilk for a while now. I guess this is the season where he's finally showing, that all-round game with the end product that proves it.
Yeah, his football IQ has caught up with his skill, and he's using them both. The shit he's doing with Benzema, or just with his other teammates, he's even like made the other teammates play better, just to match him. Like. Him, Benzema, and Modric scored this goal this weekend. That it was like a Canelo combination on somebody who has their body covered. You just open them up with each punch until they're just wide open, and then you just knock them out. They just tore through that thing, and it's fun, man. The guy's a genius. He can ball, so check him out. But yeah, they play Sharif tomorrow.
They're pretty safe though, right? I mean, for a moment it looked like they might be in the trouble, but I think they're safe now.
Yeah, they started shaky, but now
They're technically not.
Right.
If they lose tomorrow, they can still go out.
Hilarious.
I mean, if they lose tomorrow, I think
then they deserve
it.
There's
2 games. There's still 2 games left in that group. Real Madrid are on 9, Inter on 7, Sharif are on 6.
How did Sharif get 6 points? That's pretty high for.
They got 2 wins. They beat somebody else too. I think they beat
Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Like Inter Milan should be taking better care of their business than this. So Inter has to play Shakhtar. And that might be a problem. Shakhtar can beat them or drop them points. Well, Shakhtar sucks. They only got 1 point. Sorry, Shakhtar. But yeah. So we'll see. Anybody got any last rights?
Looking forward to Chelsea United.
Hilarious.
I mean, this is the first time in a long time I'm a little cocky about a big game. So,
well, it's good to see you're cocky because you're normally, I feel like you're normally cocky, but you just to make sure you don't play yourself, you'll act shy.
No, I think it's just the nature of where Chelsea has been ever since I've been involved in the podcast a lot. We've been not at the heights of where Chelsea can be.
I mean, you always have won shit.
Yeah, but when you don't have confidence in your team, sometimes you don't even know like how we winning.
Listen, you're doing as good as I told you would at the beginning of the season. So
yeah,
how about that?
No, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take credit for Chelsea because I can't take credit for anything else. All right, guys, thanks for being on. I appreciate both of you.
Always a pleasure.
Neil trying to get his little digs in. Son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm much more calmer. Can you imagine Martin on this episode?
Oh, with Conte.
And the fact that Ollie's finally gone.
But what he's gonna say? There's no Man U fan. Here's the thing. So everybody's saying he should have got fired after the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
Right? But this is the one time when a coach wasn't fired too early. Like even Moyes, revisionist history says they fired him too soon. Even ex-players might say that. And then they're like, they fired Van Gaal after he won an FA Cup. And it's because we knew we had Mourinho lined up, right? And then Mourinho, it's like, yeah, he should have been fired. Everything was sour. But Ali, as a legend, it's almost like like Lee was saying it was done with class, but it's almost like there has to be no doubt left when you fire a legend. And that's the only saving grace.
Yeah, you can't treat it just like any other sacking.
Right.
Yeah.
But no fan, even the fans of Ali are like, hey man, you gotta go. Like he probably got to the office and people, his best friends was packed.
Michael Carrick,
you
know what, you gotta go.
It was like, hey man, just your stuff is already in there.
But like if I'm Solskjær, I'm like, wait a second. We did this together.
Yeah.
We sunk us together.
Yeah.
Why am I the only one leaving?
But that's, you know what that is though? That's like, I feel like Ollie got busy with other shit and stopped dotting his I's and Q's and checking on everything and put it too much in their hands. And that's some on you shit. And then Okay. So this is the one thing I did forget about Man U. So you have you have Roy Keane and all these ex-players. They're friends of Ali, and I get it. And they almost blame the players more than Ali, and say the players are disgraceful, the way they play, they lack of effort. But it's so funny that these guys forget all the times that these same players have saved Ali. Like when all last year, all the comebacks, like the most points of any team from a losing position, the same players you said threw Ali under the bus did that. So everybody, so that's the point I wanted to make. It's like I've heard the players get bashed on Talk Sport, and it's like people only remember like right now. But all those, like, we were always set up not in the best way, so then people could score on us. And then when they scored on us, it was the same players who were in that bad setup that salvaged that shit. And it just wasn't working anymore. So I'm gonna, like, yeah, the players could have played better but they could have definitely, if they had better coaching, we wouldn't be here right now. And I love Ali, but you can't be like blaming the players and forget how many times they saved that same coach. And just leave this thing with the thing that the players let him down after all the times they saved him. So I think that's my last word. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate both of y'all, because thank you, Aaron Brungardt, for putting this shit together.
Cheers.
And to see the baby, that baby, Aaron's baby, is gonna be a Man U fan.
I think you should reserve, Aaron. You should reserve those rights for now. Let's see how this goes.
He told you what. I'll tell you what the rules are when it hangs up.
One thing we can agree on is just don't get to Spurs.
Yes, 1,000%.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.